Sitaram, dear viewers, and welcome to the Hindu Perspective, a program organized by the Board of Swaha or the Dharmandal, which looks at various social issues, issues that are taking place in our society, and of course, looking at the scriptural injunction and what our scriptures inform about these various social issues so that we get a better understanding of what is taking place in our society. It is intended to bring a level of enlightenment. And of course, as is the norm, we invite you to reach out to us via the radio station, the TV station, and you can WhatsApp at 470-8103 to share your thoughts and, of course, ask any questions that you may see as relevant. And we will start with an invocation prayer. So we pray to Sri Ganesh. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumi Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, beloved viewers, this week we continue our discussion on the issue of health, of food, and of diet. And of course, we have with us Pandit Gyandev Prasad, senior member of the Dharmandala Swaha. And Panditji, as we begin, I will pass over to you, to lead up the discussion, so share some information from the scriptures that will form the basis and foundation of our discussions today.
Thank you, Panaji. As we begin this evening, I'd like to quote again from our scriptures, the Gita, chapter 6. It says very beautifully, Krishna Bhagavan is speaking to Arjun. Here, Arjun, यह योग न तो बहुत खाने वाले न बिल्कुल न खाने वाले न बहुत शयन करने वाले स्वभाव वाले का और सदा जागने वाले हो भी सिद्ध होता है. Simply put, Krishna Bhagavan is saying to practice this yoga of devotion, Sankhya Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, all the things that cares towards God. He said this is not neither for him who overeats. I discussed that previously. Overeating is like digging the grave with your teeth. He said also not for one who does not eat. We spoke about that also. Do not fast to kill yourself. Many people fast and I turn sideways, you can't see them. Fasting kills us. They are way to fast. He said, no, for those people who do not sleep. And nor for those people who oversleep. In other words, we mentioned that last week. He spoke about certain things which will take us forward. Breathing, pranayam, food, moderation in our action, whatever we do, and meditation. And I want to read a beautiful piece of writing I saw. And I'll just read it and translate for you all. It's in our scriptures. It says, not in a scripture, but in a book which I read. Jinke paas rupya nahi hai. That means in society there will be poor people. Samaj usse bhi kabhi kabhi roti khila deta hai. So the society or the people try to help them kabhi kabhi sometimes. But lekin aate mein zarur वह धूल मिला देता है. He said, but these people who are trying to help, and this is what the verse is saying, Ata means flour. Ate mein zarur dhul. They mix dust in the flour and give people. Now, that might be a reality, it may not be right, but that's the poem. The meaning is that those who do not have in society food, who don't have means of sustaining themselves, society try to help them. But sometimes it's not of the best. What they get is not something that is positive. You get damage them more. So in our society, you have to make sure if you're helping people, don't give them leftovers. Many people want to help people and they give them leftovers, think they don't want, think that may be spoiling. That should not be done. If you want to really help people food-wise, give them good food. The same food you eat for yourself is what you must give. And this is why in our scriptures, Krishna Bhagavan says Gita also, we have to make Bhandara. Bhandara Puja. When you go, everyone shares the same food, whether the Pandit or whoever, the guest, whoever, everybody eats the same food. So today we are asking people that you want to help people because many people have lost their job. Many people can't get food. Many people looking for hampers. Let's make sure we give them things that are good. Don't give them rejects. Don't give them things that will spoil a few days or 3 or 4 days. So if you want to help, fine. This this verse says, and I get it's very beautiful. It's profound. It's more than what I'm saying here. Very profound. It says, जिनके पास रुपया नहीं है, poor people, समाज उसे भी कभी कभी rich people and society want to help them. लेकिन रोटी में खिला देता है, but they want to help them. रोटी here means food. लेकिन आटे में जरूर बहुत धूल मिल जाता है. Like we want to give them food, we give them, in this case, use the example of flour, but don't give them raw flour, they give them dhul. Dhul means dust and you mix with the flour. It reminds me of people selling milk, people selling honey. And what happens by the possibility, if you mix in water and milk, you mix in other things in honey, there's some tests, you can check in internet and see how do you know honey is really genuine and not adulterated, with other things. So we are saying food is important, and the same food you want it for yourself, you must give that food to other people also. Do not give them rejects or things you don't want. And there's a day of food I'll say that, then expatiate a bit about, because this is what Sanatana Dharma says. Everything is fallen under God. So that every day is wealth, there's food, there's exercise, there's breathing, there's a house, everything falls under God, divinity. And nothing is distant from divinity. So there is a goddess for food also. So I'll pass on Jaida to expatiate or as he sees fit, considering spiritual aspect of food.
Thank you, Panditji. And there are one or two points, but I'll just start with what Panditji mentioned. And yes, we all know that in Hinduism, we see God as serving, a function, so that we have God, we say a positional, God has a position and a function. All of these different personal forms of divinity. So we have God in the water, we have God in the sun, we have God as the creator, God as the preserver, as the destroyer. And so each of these individual forms of divinity, they serve different purpose. And we are speaking about this issue of food. And as Pandit Gyandev was mentioning, that when we speak about food, there's something spiritual to that. So it is not any type of food, and food that is given should be that which has positive energy, that which is blessed, and that which comes from divinity. And when we speak about food and God, there's what we call Annapurna Devi. And Anna means grains, and Purna means to be complete. So it's really that Devi that is complete or filled with food or grains. And this Devi is a manifestation of Durga Ma. So that many times, when we do Havan, we hear Annapurna Devi Swaha. So that this form is a form of Lakshmi, of Durga Mata, and this is a goddess of food. And there are discourses and Katha in Devi Bhagavat that speaks about this. When these Rakshas, they would have destroyed the world, and the sages, they were suffering, and they were praying to, this divine form, and Devi Ma appeared, and tears were streaming out of the eyes of Devi Ma, and the world became, began to flourish again. Waters began to fill the oceans and the rivers. She came with baskets of food. This is the Devi Ma that we are speaking about. So that food comes from Devi Ma. And therefore, this is why you always say that, as Panjaji is saying, that if you're offering food, you ensure that that food is clean, that food has been blessed, and that food is sufficient to nourish who you are giving. We don't just give it away because it is extra, because it's a burden for us to get rid of it. We have to carry the bag downstairs, so we share it out, that we give it out of love and consideration. So that is Annapurna Devi. She's a goddess of grains. And of course, we always know that if we want to have food in our homes all of the time, and I'm sure that is something that we want, that every family want to ensure that we have sufficient, that we have enough in our homes, and therefore we ensure that we pray to that Lord, we seek the grace of that Lord, we offer, we offer that food to divinity first, and in that way we ensure that we always have for ourselves. So that blessing of Annapurna Devi, Durga Mata, Lakshmi Mata, Krishna Bhagwan in our homes ensure this. Now, how does food sustain us? How does it bless us? And I'll just give one or two pieces of information, and of course we'll pass it back to Panditji, who will give us some more scriptural information, and we'll keep the discussions going. That in one Sri Ramacharamanas, when Sri Ram went to that forest on exile, that he met many sages. One of the sages that he met was sage Valmiki. And meeting that sage, the question was asked that, oh sage, where should I reside? Tell me where I should reside so I am not a burden to anyone else in the forest. I don't disrupt the sages. Because wherever Sri Ram would go, there will be rows of persons who will be following him, that attraction to that Lord. And Valmiki asked that question that, oh Prabhu, tell me where you are not, and I will tell you where to reside. And then, of course, he began a discussion. And he's saying to that Lord, and indicating different places where he should reside. And he's saying that, O Prabhu, reside in the heart and mind of that person who will only consume food after he has offered it to you. And when that food is offered, it becomes what? Prabhu Prasad. That is the term that is used in the Sri Ramanas. Prabhu Prasad. That when we say Krishna Arpan, what are we doing? We are offering to Krishna Bhagwan. And by offering to Krishna Bhagwan, that becomes prasad. And when we consume that prasad and others consume that, then that Lord resides in the heart and the mind of those individuals. So that many times, before we consume it, and maybe we are all guilty of it, myself also at times, that I would forget that, in your haste to eat, either you are busy, you're extremely hungry, you're excited for the food, whatever it may be. But sometimes a simple thing like saying, Krishna Arpan, that I offer this to Sri Krishna before we consume that, sometimes that slips our mind. And when we do that, we are depriving ourselves of that blessing and having blessed that food before we give others. In puja, in yagya, we have to ensure that when we prepare food, many times we prepare the food and it's a new trend. And Panditji, you can comment on this. I'll just wrap up this point. And we are looking at what is taking place in our society. And we are seeing new trends. And a new trend is not a good thing necessarily. What are we seeing? That we are seeing now that during Yagya, that persons are passing around with, water. They are passing around with sweets that sometimes people eat before the Yagya start because they don't want to eat late in the night, which is understandable. But is this the right way? How is the right way to do this? Is that food blessed? And if that food is not blessed, is that Prabhu Prasad? And if it is not Prabhu Prasad, do we get a blessing? Is that Lord residing in the heart and mind of each and every one of us? So that the scriptures give us the advice, it gives us the information. What are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to treat food? And we are seeing these new trends, eating before Yagya, eating during Yagya. So Panditji, I don't know if you'd like to share your views on, this new development that we're noticing in Hinduism.
Definitely, Panditji. Let me start by saying it is unacceptable for anyone to be eating during a yagya. Now, I was watching, I don't do it regularly, but it happened in the flicking channel. I saw this Pandit on his Singhasan. I said, all right, now shall worship Vishnu Bhagavan. I put a bottle of water, I started drinking. And then I go ahead. Biologically speaking, a human being can go at least 2 weeks without water. Some people can live 1 hour or 2 hours without water. It's amazing. Some pundits go back. So it becomes a fashion. Oh, I must drink some water. My throat get dry. It will be dry now. There's sacrifice. And if you're eaten before the puja or the yag starts, then that's not prasad. In the Gita, Krishna Bhagavan says clearly, the food will be offered to me first. Do we eat the prasad and offer to Vishnu Bhagavan? Similarly, I tell people, I say when you have yagya puja, all the food must be blessed. And I don't care who come, your boss grandfather, or your boss father. Tell him I have to wait till puja finish then eat. Then the food has to be blessed. We as Hindus compromise too much to please people. It is so hungry, I'll go eat somewhere else and then come to man. We are doing a sacrifice. You are preparing your home. You are preparing everything for God. God comes first. And we can institute that. So I'm asking every Hindu, when you have puja, don't have people. We only cook and we don't taste food. I've seen, we have yag many times, so many times. These ladies will cook. They don't taste at all. There's not a Western tradition, it's Eastern tradition, or Hindu tradition. They don't taste the food. So nobody tastes that food. The food is cooked. And then I must ask your pandit or like with the prayer to bless the food. So everybody who comes to eat, tell them, this food has been blessed. Krishna Arpan. If they don't want blessed food, they can't eat prasad, they can't eat food neither. So some players come and say, yeah, give me prasad. But they don't eat the food. No, they want to eat food, but don't eat the prasad. Hindus, people can't eat prasad, they can't eat food neither. They don't want Panchamrit, they can't eat food neither. Bless the food and tell them this is blessed offering. Everything is prasad. So in our puja, yagya, puja, whatever, the food, the prasad mohan, what you call it, the amrit, all that is blessed offering. All that is prasad. Prasad means offering to Hari, Sri Hari, Vishnu Bhagwan. So Hindus gets that the right way. Another time we got wedding, is a cooking night, a wedding night, whatever. I want everything religious. Keep it religious. Keep it with the foundation of religious. Krishna Bhagavan in Gita, we said that. Follow the ancient tradition and follow the scripture it has. So the Panacharya is making is eating during or before a year or puja started, all acceptable. This is why, ask yourself, more people are doing yag, more people are doing puja, and more we suffering. Why? Because something is wrong. Made the example so many times. Sita is going to give charity. She get kidnapped. Something was wrong. Why? She's going to give an undeserving person. So when we are doing things wrongly, not according to scriptures, we will suffer the consequences. So as far as food is concerned, you get your people to cook the food. Now these days, you got to consider caterers. You have to get caterers who are vegetarian and who use vegetarian utensils. But utensils which vegetarian food is cooked, right? So you have to tell them, get the caterer. If you don't have a caterer, fine, no problem. Tell them you must be, and there are many. Tell them all food will be cooked in the utensils which are not being used for other things, for meat and so on. It must be specially for prasad and for you puja and yagya. So that you tell your caterer that. And the same way when the food is finished, don't pack up and send for your neighbor and pack up and send for your grandmother and the caterer said, all food remain where it is. Let the pandit bless it. If you pandit can't come to bless it, you are the pandit, Baba, what the month. You take the month and you take some water and pass right on your food, and it's a nice month which you all say 20 vastu from them. Oh, simple Krishna Arpan. And you bless your food. So that we are saying every single thing in our puja that has to be eaten or consumed must be blessed and offered to Krishna Bhagavan or Durga or Lakshmi or Saraswati. In the Gita, Krishna Bhagavan says that if you eat for sustaining the body alone, you eat in sin. Eat food to sustain the body, but before you eat it, offer it to God. So as far as drinking water, eating during Yag and Puja, I think is unacceptable. And I'm appealing to Pandit brothers, my Pandit brothers. I see it, I don't understand it. That you tell me you can't do that water for 3 hours. You have to gulp water halfway in Yag, unless I asan, in a puja. They show you you do not make any sacrifice. As a Pandit, this is what your duty, your sacrifice in name of your duty as a Pandit. Pandit, you just help me sing asan and just doing what you want to do. The scriptures say fasting, keeping away from food and drink, and biologically speaking, I mentioned, no one will die if you drink water for a whole day. No one will die if you eat for a whole day. Nobody, except you're badly off in the first instance, then should be fasting. But normal people, from Pandits go back, no one should be publicly consuming anything in front of Bhagavad, in front of Ramayana. So Pandits are doing it, I'm asking you as a Pandit to a Pandit, stop it. Give good example to the people, man. Singing, read Ramayana. Your voice gone bad? I always tell people, if singing had anything to do with devotion, Michael Jackson, Mohammed Rafi, Mukesh, if they're going to heaven for sure, how good is they sing? Devotion is from the mind, and when you put your mind in it. So bear that in mind. So as far as eating and drinking and yag is concerned, it is a no-no penalty. That I'll pass back to you. That is my opinion, and the opinion of the scriptures, according to what Gita says, and other books will say, do not jutha the place. You still anything else and drinking water and eating, you still place and eating and drinking, you jutha in the place as they call it. So do not do that. Panditji, that.
Thank you, Pandit, and we'll take a break and we'll come back to our program.
Join us as we explore contemporary issues facing societies worldwide. Interviews and discussions featuring local and international experts. You can participate in our live call-in segments, a program of the board of SWAHA.
Join live every Tuesday evening at 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. and prime time at 7 p.m.
So welcome back to our listeners. And Panditji, you have shared your view, and I believe that we all would agree with that. And there's just one or two issues I'd like to raise with you and get your view on it as a senior pundit in our country. And it has to do with the attitude that we use when we are preparing food and all of that. Now we are in the discussion of food, in particular food that is used for yagya, for puja, for sacrifice. And you spoke about using the right utensils and all of that, and those help to create the right vibrations. So that, in that same vein, when we are preparing food, of course, we avoid talking over the food. We avoid, having the wrong type of discussions that sometimes you go and you see persons are preparing food and they're laughing, they're making bad jokes and all of that. And other places you see that there's intense respect that is shown. That while the food is being prepared, bhajans are being played, the heads are covered, there's no talking, there's no unnecessary interaction, that the focus is there because they treat this in a very spiritual way. So that those are some of the things that we see, and those are the positives. So we have the negative, and of course we have the positives also. Panditji, there's two issues that I would like you to comment on. And the first one is that normally, when someone prepares food, and maybe a family may prepare something that they would like to eat, etc., that they may take some and put it one side. My personal view, I'll just tell you my view, is that, if you make something, and at least in our home, that's how we do it, that if everything has to be shared away, and as a family member, you have to eat bread and cheese after, then so be it. That when you prepare the food, that you should not keep back any. If your guests are there and your guests would like to have, and you have remaining, then you should share with them. So I just like to get your view on that. And the second issue is something I encountered in my own life, and that is giving prasad. And in this case, whether it be Mohan Bhog, any type of prasad, to persons who are undeserving. So that I had an incident once where someone asked me for prasad, and I gave the prasad to them. And I witnessed the person eating, meat, and not just meat, they were eating beef, and they were eating the prasad at the same time. And what they didn't want from the prasad, they're throwing in the same container with the bones and all of that, and the same bag with the Lakshmi Mata picture. While we know that, we call it a pratima, we know it's not a murti, but at the same time, and in my view, it did not feel right. But of course, I'll leave it up to you, Panditji. Maybe there's a different perspective on this. But, in terms of deserving people, is it that because this is blessed, if anyone eats it, that they get blessing? Or do we have to be discreet or discerning in terms of who we give this prasad to? As well as, when we make food, the idea of keeping back some for the family. What are your views on these two issues? And are there any scriptural injunctions that would guide this?
Definitely. In the scriptures, there are many examples with Vishwamitra and with Draupadi and many others, where they rather starve than eat the food they have prepared. They make sure everybody gets the food. Everybody. Harishan Katha has that also. There, if you prepare a yag means sacrifice, and you offer to God, and you offer to all the guests that are present here. So when everybody is eaten, then you eat last. You eat last. Those are the yag mimansa, the scriptural injunctions. If I'm doing a yag, I shouldn't sit down first and eat food and say, all right, my belly full now. I'll eat now. No. The first one to eat is your pandit who has done his sacrifice. Then your guests. Let all the guests eat. And when the guests have been completed eaten, if nothing remains, fine, so be it. But there are many people who do yag for 7 nights and 9 nights, and they fast for 7 nights. They don't eat at all. So if you do a yag and the food is totally completed, then so be it. You make something else or do it, whatever it is. Now, as far as people are undeserving, it goes back to the same point. If you offer this food to God, it is prasad. And if you abuse prasad, it becomes a sin. Many people want prasad for a dog, but apparently dog more important than people. I'm not saying don't do it. It's better to give a dog it than to give a human being who is not really, living a life. A dog has no choice. The dog nature is to eat whatever it gets. So if a dog get an old bone somewhere, he'll eat it. If a dog get prasad, he'll eat it. Human beings not like that. Human beings are human who have discrimination, power discrimination. So no one should be given this food to those who will desecrate it. How to desecrate it? By what you mentioned there. Taking prasad and giving it to whatever, mixing it with other things. So as far as we are concerned, people must show respect to the prasad. This is why in the scripture it is mentioned, people who Gita mentioned very beautifully. You don't go about like some people in every corner you want to preach. Every market you're going to preach. Krishna Bhagavan says, those who are desirous of hearing my name, partaking of my sacrifice, come to me. So you go to the yag, you go to the temple, you go to the puja. If they come there, they get what they want to get. So when you want to run about and feed everybody, that is a mental, I would say, your mental thing. You kind of going wrong there. That has nothing to do with scriptures. So you have to make sure whatever you're doing is what the scripture has explained. So that, Panaji, according to the scriptures, do not, it comes to the same point. Sita giving charity to who? Ravan. So when you're giving holy prasadam to evil people, you are getting sin for that. So you are getting sin. So make sure, this is why you said just now, let the persons come to the place of holiness, come to the temple. Now you come to the temple, we give you prasad. If prasad remains, you share it up. You have many places, homes, you share it up. You do what you do in a sattvic way, so it will be respected. But the bottom line is, anything that belongs to God must be respected, just like nature. So we can't go about just ill-treat. Today we take prasad, hold it, and want to offer it to God. Oh, Prabhu, today was Sugovindam, Tomisnakri. Oh, God, you open this prasad to you. And then next half an hour, the same prasad which is taken from, you can throw it away. It's not acceptable. Not acceptable. So if you ask, food remain, how to dispose of it? You see as you see fit to dispose of it. Whether you want to give it to beggars, whether you give it to people in children's home. Maybe I know when food remains, they rather give it to animals. It may sound strange. In the Trojan River, one is not polluting river, where is biodegradable, or you give it to animals who will eat it, because that's their nature. Their nature eat anything they get. Human being, that's not a nature. Human being is different. So where you have extra food remain, you dispose of it in a decent manner, and do not give it to people who will disrespect it, abuse it, and do not respect the fact that it is prasad. And the sooner the Hindus realize and start practicing the fact that our sacred puja and yag starts with everything we do, from cooking the food, to eating the food, to disposing of the food, then we'll get blessings on puja. Not just sit down there and say, all right, I do what I have to do, and who for them to do their business. My mind go back to that katha of Valmiki. I think Panji just mentioned that. When he says to Valmiki, go and ask your family, you kill and rob to sustain them, go and ask them. The Valmiki's family told this Valmiki, you are killing and sustain us. You are killing, not we. You are doing that, so you will suffer the consequences. So whatever you do is for you. So do not think that whatever, like Valmiki, he's doing it for a good cause, he thinks, but in reality, he'll be suffering consequences. So you may think you do, again comes back, the great example of Sita, Mata, and Ravan. You may think you're doing something good, but in reality, what happened? Like Sita, you get kidnapped and suffer for years. So do not do things which will bring suffering to us. Let us make sure we get our puja, our yag, and tell your Baba, I'm not criticizing anybody, but Swaha Panit doesn't do that. Swaha Panit, you'll never see our Singh son guggling water and drinking and carrying on as though they throw dry and would have found anything. No. Swaha Panit are standing to live. And Panits who we know, there are many Panits like that who will live up to the ancient tradition of showing of sanctity and showing respect. The book in front of us, I sacrifice you're doing. If a Panit cannot sacrifice, what benefit is there for his rota? If Panit can't serve on water and food for 1 hour, 2 or 3 hours, what benefit is his rota? So start with getting a good Panit who will not desecrate your yag or your puja by eating and drinking while the puja is going on. So coming back, do not disrespect what has been done. Do not disrespect the food. Make sure it's disposed of in a proper manner. Prepare it properly, share it properly, dispose of it properly. These are the words of the scriptures.
Thank you, Panditji, and I concur with the views of Panditji also. And as he's speaking, there are one or two questions I would like to ask. And again, Pandit, this comes out of our own experiences, and you're much more senior than me. So you have seen a lot more than me, a lot more experience. And there are still things that I would see, and for myself, I know it doesn't sit well with me, but I'd like to get your view on it. And one of them is one of the to me, one of the ceremonies that you see the most amount of disrespect in for food and for rituals, etc. Putting wedding aside, right? That's a whole different story. But even when it comes to let's say the Madhyam Shodashi, the Bandara, that you have the Shra taking place outside, and then the Gita part is taking place upstairs, and then downstairs you can hear the talking, you can hear the laughing, and all of that. So there's gross disrespect that no one is paying attention to the Gita part, no one is listening to the words of Sri Krishna. And then when it's time to eat, then you say that you need to have this certain amount of meal sitting, and then you would have a whole table of persons who are participating with the Shrotas who were not even taking part in the Gita part, and therefore not part of that ceremony. My approach, and this is just mine, I'm not saying that anybody has to do it or is right or wrong, but how I do it is normally that the persons who are taking part in the ritual, I explain to them that eating that food is part of the ritual also, so that before you share for others and before others will join in, that the pundit and the shrotas will sit and just take a little bit of food. It's just enough for you just to eat to finish that ceremony. I tell them you can go eat after if you want, but all you need to do is simply just sit there. If it's 2 or 3 or 4 persons who did the sacrifice, and just to complete that you sit and you just taste some of the food, and then after that, of course, others can eat, etc. But this is, to me, is one of the areas that we see where a lot of disrespect is shown to Gita, to that type of puja, as well as we see, it seems as if people are just waiting for everything to finish and then they start eating. So Panditji, I don't know if you have, as we're talking about this area of food and respect for rituals and all of that, what is your view on this?
Well, you have raised a very important point here, which is applicable to all. And I wish Hindus will start following it. We have to ask, why do we do the Bhandara outside, and why do we do the Gita part inside? The Bhandara is outside because it is for Arima Pitra. So you purify the entire atmosphere. So outside is where all these ceremonies are performed. Now, when you finish that, the same place can be used for Gita part. Should not be used. And why we go inside the house? Because it signifies that you are going to continue doing your devotions normal. You only purify the home now. So the Gita part is on the side. Now, this is something which the Srota, the person who is hosting, must understand and practice. Tell people, I invite you to bring blessings to my home, not to bring srap and curse, not to give me sin. So when the Gita part goes inside, you have to sit quietly and listen. If you can't sit quietly and listen, then I'll put a mic loud for you to listen. So as far as we are concerned, the Gita part is done inside, not for them going to do the thing and we outside talking and laughing and crying on for them to finish. No, it is to bless the home and to signify, and it's a very important point. As from today, the Gita part is done, your home is purified, and you can continue your devotions normal. You can do puja the next day if you want to. And many people have come with the idea, I don't know where to get it from. Oh, we have somebody dead, so for a whole year we can't do puja. The only restriction for that is weddings, up to 9 months. But apart from that, you can continue your devotions normal. People just like not to do puja, you look like. So when somebody dead, Baba, I can idea, like not to idea. So use the first excuse not to do puja, not to do yoga. This is why the Gita part is done specifically in the house, not anywhere else. Because it purifies the home and gives the example. The Gita is read, the greatest purifier. The Gita is a greater purifier than even the Ganga, according to the Gita. According to Mahabharata also. The Gita purifies the persons and purifies the home. So when the arrangement is made, when the Gita part has been done inside the house, some system is put in place to let people outside hear what's going on and tell them you have to remain quiet because that is disturbing. It's like saying a yell. It's like you doing a puja and people talking on your head. Same thing. There is distance a little more. And I want to just add one thing for if you don't mind. Before the Gita part, people have what we call wake, well, Jagran as we call it. And when you go to these Jagran, now you have Mahagyani, Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Ramayana is Satyam, truth, Shivam, bliss, Satyam, truth and bliss. Ramayana is truth, bliss. When you have anybody who has died, it is recommended from a point of view of our scriptures and from our ancestry and from our, we call Lok Riti and Gal Riti, all the Riti tradition that you read Ramayana, because by listening to Ramayana, you get Satyam, you hear the truth. Ramayana is the only scripture. By listening to it, you get blessings. Shivam, you get blessing with it. Satyam, Shivam, Sundar is beautiful. When you have fire, you throw gas on it. So when you have a death, what you maybe you feel more sad. You have to bring the life to them, bring some relief to them, and Ramayana provides that. And nowadays, with the Mahagyani they have, Ramayana not good again. That is Garud Puran, and talk one sort of thing, which most people don't understand what it's all about. And they talk all kind of things. So the recommended scripture is the Ramayana. And then when the Ramayana finish each night, it is customary, as our tradition, they prepare something to share for the people who have come. And many people scorn that. I can't eat it. That somebody dead, I can't eat it. I want to clarify. The only person who is not supposed to eat any night on the Bandara, the person who has done the Srad Karam, that is the Pandit. And the Mahapatra, on the 10th day, he can't come home by day in either. So the only one who doesn't have to eat is the Pandit. Every single human being who go there can eat. 20 of us to Govindam. So that even in the Bhandara, in the wake, put it that way, the Jagran, the people supposed to bless that food. The Baba said, bring the food, Lord bless it. And everybody partake. Nowadays, and some, that different story. We talked about it last week or something before. Whether it's fried thing or boiled thing or bread and cheese, whatever it is. So whatever they prepare is food. And you put that Devi, don't insult the food by saying, yeah, I want that, I can't eat that. That is hypocrisy to the highest extent. And there may be enough suffering. So if you're going awake, I remember when Shankaracharya died, we had wake every night. And the so-called hypocrites, I can't eat here. The Guru dead here, I can't. The Guru died, they can't eat. But they're going to leave and go some other place, fast food and eat. You know how hypocritical people are? So we are saying, if you go to a wake and food is offered, if you're not sure, you in your own mind, Krishna Arpan, eat your cheese sandwich, eat your biscuit and biscuit and cheese, drink your coffee, Krishna Arpan, eat it and drink it. Don't disrespect the food and don't scorn it neither. You're scorning things which you don't know about. You're scorning food which have been offered. So that is one thing I want to bear in mind. When you go to a wake, anywhere eating food, offer it to God. When you go to the Jagran and you have food offered, offer it to God and partake of it. And in the house, as I put the question, when the Gita Path is going on, you have to tell people, the person is doing the year, the person is doing the Srad Karam. If they make, Pandit, give me 2 minutes. Please, will you all remain silent and listen? If you can't listen, I'll put on a mic for you all. But at least remain silent. I mind Jai Krishna, Jai Krishna. Do not disturb the place. So the Gita Path not for them, Baba and them to think. And then I'll add one extra point, Panajaya, if you don't mind. There's something called etiquette in eating. As you said, the Pandits will eat first, and the 5 persons or the 6 persons, 10 persons, and then next thing we should talk about next time. I don't want a person to do it. If a man has 7 sons, we will tell 2 he can't do it, only 5 could do it. Where the 5 come from, I'm not sure. But all who eaten, all who have done the Gita Path and the Srad, all of them strong to eat facing south. Now, this is what eating, the etiquette is called. Many people say them Babas feel special. They don't know what to eat to them. You know why? I have seen it and we experienced it. You see a man, they put a leaf, they put a pumpkin, eat it out. They bring roti, eat it out. They bring chana aloo, eat it out. So as soon as you try the food on the leaf, eat it out. So that's not Hindu tradition. So we'll come back and talk about it again. What is the Hindu etiquette in eating? Do not eat the food or something gets in your plate. Like, if you're an animal like a dog, you put the food in the plate, you rice and eat it out. No, we are human beings. So we'll come back in a while and talk about etiquette in eating as far as Hindus are concerned. Please stay with us. We'll come back in a few minutes. We take a short break. Join us as we explore contemporary issues facing societies worldwide. Interviews and discussions featuring local and international experts. You can participate in our live call-in segments, a program of the board of SWAHA.
Join live every Tuesday evening at 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. and prime time at 7 p.m.
So welcome back to our viewers, and we're hearing some very passionate words from Panditji. But of course, it sounds very, very, very funny. But these are the realities that we face. And as he's suggesting that there's Kulachan and there's Sulachan, Kulakan and Sulakan, good and bad attitudes, and there's ethics in everything we do. But Panditji, before I pass over to you to continue with those points and to share that type of information, what is proper ethics as it relates to eating and all of those things, just to touch on one or two of the points that you mentioned, and the idea of the Gita part. And in chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita, that Arjuna is describing that Lord, he says, Param Brahm Param Dham, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. He says that you are a supreme being, and that Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, you are the supreme purifier. So that once you pray to that Lord, of course, that entire place is purified. And therefore, the place becomes clean again. And this idea, and it's something I feel very strongly about, just as you do, Pandit, that persons will say that I cannot do puja, I cannot pray, I cannot light deer for Diwali because I am in a state of mourning. But yet we see that these same individuals, they celebrate birthday, they celebrate Christmas, they celebrate everything else. So there's celebration, merriment. However, when it comes to puja, when it comes to the religious actions, it has not been performed. That again, it borderlines on. I wouldn't be as strong as Panditji. He's a senior Pandit. He could say those strong words. I would just say it is double standard and it is wrong. It is the wrong thing to do. That there's no excuse for us to ever not pray. Praying is a daily practice. Diwali comes around, you don't have to release fireworks and all of that. In fact, persons will not like theirs, but they will celebrate with friends and family. They will shoot off fireworks, do the celebration, when in fact they should be doing the opposite, praying more and less celebration. So that once you do that Gita part, praying to Sri Krishna, as Arjun described, Param Brahm Param Dham, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. Panditji merely point about, when we go to homes, and again the double standard, even amongst Pandits, we say that we cannot eat in at home, it is Shuti Har. But at the same time, when someone dies in our own home as Pandits, we eat. And Chutihar does not apply to Pandits or no Pandit. So the idea is that if there's death, yes, we say those things. But in terms of the cleanliness of the place, if food is offered, we accept it. And in terms of purifying, why do we read Ramayana? I'll just like to share one part of a chaupa. And again, I credit this to Panditji in our Pandits class. I learned this from him. And I say it every time, whenever I go Ramayana anywhere. Bhayam ku bhayam alakalasihu, nam japat mangal disi dasahu. That however we say that name of Ram, that nam japat mangal disi dasahu, that once we repeat, we japi that name of Sri Ram, recite that name of Sri Ram, there's purity, auspiciousness in all directions. So that this is one of the reasons I would assume that when we go to Ramayana or when there's death in a home, that we read from that Ramayana, that once you read and recite that name of Sri Ram, there's purity in that home. And therefore that food, and we say Krishna Arpan, as Panditji is suggesting, we do all of that. And of course, we can partake of that food. My only caveat, if I have to give one, is that if persons are using cheese, that you ensure that the cheese that they use is rennet-free cheese, because the rennet that is used in cheese that is not rennet-free is actually from the stomach of the calf of a cow. So that is like eating beef. So that whenever you have to eat cheese, and this is for all Hindus, if I go to a place, I will not ask, that will embarrass the persons. If I am not sure, I will just not eat it. But it's just to let Hindus know, as we are talking about these things, being very candid in our program today. I'm just following the example of Panditji, that if you have to consume, if you have to use cheese, ensure that you buy cheese that is rennet-free. Because rennet, what is used to make that rennet comes from the stomach of the calf, the baby cow, and that is not something that we are supposed to consume. So Panditji, this is just my little contribution based on what you are saying, And I'll pass over to you again to continue, enlightening our viewers.
Thank you, Panaji. You raised a very important point here. I remember when I was in Aero, into religious organization years now, they sent us a document where they wanted to use human cells in the making of tomatoes. They say these human cells, the biological process, will ensure that the skin of tomatoes does not damage quickly. So in other words, it will not be vegetarian tomatoes again. So these kind of things happen in this world. Of course, we rejected it. I don't know if you did not, I don't know. So the point you are making is very important. We have to read everything. Sometimes people think we're mad. You go to the grocery and everything you take up, you watch it and read what the ingredients are. What are the ingredients? We have to read the Hindus because now they put this thing in everything. So that's an important point, Pandit. And to go back to the thing about etiquette in eating, there are a few things which should not be done. I mentioned this why Pandits long ago, and Pandits up now, we are Swaha Pandits, try to ensure that there are certain people, if you join us, you must know the etiquette. If you don't know it, please let them say one side afterwards. Because it brings sin and destruction to the person who's doing the yajna. One other thing is, as you said, get all the food and then offer the prayer. Do eat food as you reach on your leaf. The next thing is, I've seen happening. I have seen Pandits, and I have no fear in saying it, what is right is right, what is wrong is wrong. There's no discrimination in Hinduism, but everything has been attributed. The right hand is what's given, your raksha, the right hand is used for eating. So when time to eat, you eat with the right hand. No two ways about that. In the scriptures, the Smriti and the Sruti, they say that one hand is for in front and one hand is for behind. So you can't mix up the two. So your right hand is for the front, for doing yajna, puja, and feeding the body with prasad, which is food. And the next hand is to clean out the waste. So there are people who do not care, because this way, in this day and age, people do, what they feel they do. They call them mana tangse. Do whatever feel they do. So I'm telling you, eat with the right hand. I make no sense. You eat in the right hand, and when you go, you see people grab the roti so left hand and pull and eating. For God, take it with the right hand and eat alone. Eating with the right hand, these are some etiquette as honest we do. And all the food is there, we eat with our right hand only right hand, nothing else. And we do not use the example. I use myself as an example. I am a total left-hander. My right hand is just for because God gave me one. And one time to eat, do puja, offer jal, do yajna, tie raksha is right hand. No two ways about it. So we have to stick to that tradition, which is, and one of these days, we'll give the whole example about different parts of the body and who reside where. So that the right hand is attributed, it's like Brahman attributed for yajna. So that everyone has a given part of the body attributed towards doing a certain sacrifice for the benefit of the body. So in terms of that, eat with your right hand at all times. And then the next thing come, Baba, you ever see people eating with knife and fork and spoon and a leaf? Oh God, man, you're so clean. Now COVID has taught everybody that example. Sanitize your hand, sanitize your hand. So you're going to eat, sanitize your hand, eat the man. No, you want to eat with knife and fork because you feel that is something, I know, the grain detail. So as far as we are concerned, eating with your hand is recommended. Eat the best fork, eat the best spoon you can get, the hand. So as far as etiquette is concerned, that is there also. And then, according to Shankacharya, we sit down together, we get our food together, we offer water and we offer mantras and we eat together. And when we finish, we get up together. Not he finishes, he go ahead. You go ahead. Somebody go and sit down. That is not how we do in Hinduism. They said this is why we try to insist the Pandit Samaj, genuine Pandit Samaj, not those who drink water in asan and others eat with a fun kind. Genuine, dharmic Pandit Samaj. We do things, we sit down together, we eat together, and we get a wash and go together. Another thing, the Western tradition is how we call conversational eating. So eating has that conversation. I want to tell you how crime going. I want to tell you how down get fire from hook. Eating is to use your mouth to chew, mastication. Nothing else. Not for talking. If you are serious in eating and talk, you can choke. But Hinduism has recorded this a long time in the Manusmriti and other scriptures. And eating, eat your food, masticate your food, you have 3 teeth, so many times you must chew your food, at least close to that, and let it go down, because your body can't do nothing except liquids. So our next etiquette, next rule in eating is eat and don't talk. When you don't eat, just sit down and talk. Eat. So these are some etiquettes as far as our religion is concerned, Jaidat. I'll pass back on to you.
Yes, Panditji, and some of the others we have learned from Shankachar also, our grandfather, Panditji's father. One of them is that you take sufficient, just enough, so that you don't have to leave back any. And sometimes you go, you see persons take a lot of food, and Panditji talk about the wasting of food. Now there are not times that you should be wasting, and they would take, because you're hungry, you take more than you really need, and then the half of the leaf remains, and the leaf in itself is big, so you tend to take a lot more, and then you end up wasting it. What you have always learned from the Shankachar, and Panditji spoke to some of them. Number one, you take enough so that when you're finished, you're finished. Secondly, you do not ask for more, you do not talk, you do not lick your fingers, you do not lick the leaf, and you show respect to that food, you always pray. So that these are some of the ethics that we use when we eat food. And as Panditji said, we sit together and we live together. And this is why sometimes persons may say that pundits are very clannish or cliquish, they like to stick to themselves. But it's only sometimes it is because we know what are the right things, and the right thing that has to be done. And therefore, if persons do not understand that, of course we will inform others. But there comes a time when pundits will sit together and they will eat, or they will eat with the shroters, and then we'll guide them on what needs to be done. But even if you are not a shroter, you're not part of that pundits group, it does not mean that these ethics don't apply to you. This applies to every single person. Every person should follow these. Now, Pandit, in terms of the food, there's just one more, and it's 5:22. So, I know we are coming to the end of our program for today. And we're on this topic of food. And we are saying that, we bless this food. And this food is given to different persons. It is given to humans, to your fellow man. And this is called Manushya, which is one of our daily obligations. It is also given to the animals. And we have identified different categories of animals. We say that you have the animals in the sea, the fishes, etc. You have those like the birds, the ones that are in the air, the ones that are in the land. You have the ones that crawl. And then, of course, you offer the food to the deotas. We said that already. So we say the Krishna Arpan, and we offer that to the deotas. And food also is a means of vrat, sacrifice, because you have to actually put out resources in order to make this food. So that when you buy the ingredients, you have to pay for persons to cook and all of that. Even if you do it yourself, you put out labor, you put out finances. So all of that is a vrat. Now, I know there's this practice where persons say that, you have to give one share to the cow. But as we know, the cow is an animal that is vegan. Not vegetarian like we are, but it is vegan in the sense that it doesn't need, spicy food and garlic and curry and all of those things. But yet you see persons, they give curry food and all of that to the cow, and they say that one share has to be given to the cow. When I do bandara, etc., I tell persons that is not the case, and they should not be given the cow this type of food, because cows, they eat grass, water, they are vegan versus vegetarian. So Panditji, I don't know if you want to make a comment on that, if there's anything in scriptures that speaks about the way, the diet and how we are supposed to treat, for example, maybe elephants and cows, because I know they are very similar in terms of their diet, etc.
Correct, Panditji, you have spoken great here. And it is mentioned in scriptures that nature, you must follow nature, what God has said in creation. Krishna Bhagavan said that. What God has said in creation, you have to follow that. God said in creation, cows eat grass, cows eat vegetation, not what we just eat. Same way elephant. So if you want to feed a cow, cut up on the grass and give them. I don't know where it's come from. I feed cow and I feed. Last time, person asked me that, the answer gives them is still vexed. They said, Baba, how much share food to take out? When I feed all the animal and things. I said, they are chola, I say, yak, uni. 8,400,000 different type of life forms. You feed all? You can't feed all. So feed the deotas now. feed the Manushya man, and feed those who are around you right there. Stick with that. Don't try and want to feed everybody everything. You want in the air and in ground and in flying and in water and this and that. That is just mental gratification, we call it. So if you want to offer food, first of all, bare bhage manushana power. Make sure people eat, man. Let the persons eat. You have your dog at home, you have any animal that which you mind, pets and so on, you give them food also. They can consume that. Cows are not supposed to eat those things that are not in its nature, not elephant. So do not go against nature. Krishna Bhagavan said, those who do that will suffer the consequences. I want to mention one point. I begin the program by reading from this Gita, where it says, this yag is not for who he overeats. So the point comes, how much must we eat? In that same chapter, Krishna Bhagavan, he said we should not eat. So, they said to eat to the neck. So here, Krishna Bhagavan, eat where your belly half filled, half. Quarter must be for liquids and quarter for air. Nobody should eat in such a way that you fill up your stomach too much. So your stomach will be filled half, you will know how much your stomach will take, then quarter for liquids and quarter remain for air. So if you ask what the correct amount to eat, that is the remedy or the solution given in the Gita. This is what I mean by saying, do not overeat. Overeating is you eat and you can, some will eat it and want to vomit. Some will eat it, the saying goes, they belly full, but eye not full. So they see more and more food and they want to eat all the time. So according to the scriptures, how much to eat? Eat so that your stomach is half filled. And this is, from a health point of view, ask any doctor, any dietitian, that is the right way. Half the stomach with food and quarter with water and next quarter with air. And that is the correct combination to make sure we are healthy. So these are some of the things I would like to just think. I pass back Jayden before I pass back to him. Let me just say special, compliments for the African society who have been celebrating Emancipation Day, our brothers and sisters who have been emancipated. Indeed, we recognize that slavery was there, emancipation was there, and indentureship was there, and liberation was there. So all those who have been celebrating emancipation, we give them our greetings, our blessings, and we are asking that to be really emancipated, really get away from the shackles of colonialism. And there are many aspects of colonialism we can discuss today. But bear in mind, on behalf of SOHA, we say to them, all the best. And just now, if the war stops, Russia will allow the grains to pass from Ukraine, you will get more grains. And you put Devi. So I'll pass on back to Pandit to close up.
Thank you, Panditji. And that brings us to the end of today's program. And let me thank Panditji. Today I acted more in the role of a moderator and facilitator, and you have heard a lot of valuable information from Panditji, and you realize that he's very candid. And that doesn't come from any sense of disrespect. That comes from experience and doing what is right. And most importantly, being passionate about the right things. And we are supposed to be passionate about the right things. If everyone wants to sugarcoat what is right thing, then where would we be? So Panditji, he thank you very much for those those candid words. And I'm sure that our viewers would have learned a lot. I know I learned a lot also. And as we always say, our program is meant to share not just what is happening in society, but what is the scriptural injunction? What does our scriptures tell us is the right things to do? And this is Panditji's rule on this program. That is why you'll see that even when the rest of us are on little breaks and all of that, Panditji is always here, because without Panditji, there's no program. So that Pandit, thank you. And to our viewers, thank you very much for joining us once again. And of course, we invite you to join us next week for another edition of the Hindu Perspective. Sitaram.